iPad because apparently I haven't used it lately. So, okay, terrific. Randy, is everybody here?
Yep.
All right, so the meeting's to order. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. I'm counting on the fact that everybody read them in advance. So the minutes are on the table. Are there any corrections, comments, additions, subtractions?
Julie is usually
Anything?
my best reviewer.
I read them.
Julie, your mic is off.
Right. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I'm
Oh,
not.
all right. Yeah. Too bad. All right.
Okay. All right, hearing none, the minutes have passed.
Good.
All right. The next item is, Vicki, did you want to give a very brief report or should we go straight to the budget?
Straight to the budget. Sorry, I didn't prepare anything.
Okay, that's fine. That's because this is really just a budget meeting and
Yes.
a quick update meeting. Okay. Christy, do you want to present the budget to us? And hopefully everybody has already read it. I know Christy said it in advance. Look,
Yep.
so.
Yep. So I did send out the Excel file again in advance. It's the same budget that we walked through at the last meeting. I've just added the notes to it since the last meeting, just to give a little bit more context on some of the lines. And I did finally talk to Mark, which I kept forgetting about month after month, and made some adjustments to the budget for building and grounds, really just for some of the plantings for the DeAngelis property and for snow removal. Outside of that, it's the same set of numbers that were presented at the last meeting. So we are still showing a loss projection for 2021. There was a number of revenue items that came out. Targeted aid, like I talked about several times now throughout this whole year. Up to this year, that was a $3,000 revenue line. That is not going to happen next year. Very, very unlikely to happen. And there was another one, the Columbia County, the CCLA draft budget is only $1,500. That's also significantly lower than we've seen in years past. So COVID is still having a decent size impact on our projected revenue. We don't have anything in here for the appeal letter. I do have a placeholder of $10,000 in here for fundraisers. Like I mentioned in the last meeting, that's still very much just putting us back at our pre-COVID fundraiser level. We don't necessarily have everything built and ready to go to figure out how we're going to get there. So, you know, if we make a few more tweaks in revenue next year as we actually get into the year and maybe can get out of this COVID mess at some point, we might turn back to flat or a little bit favorable for 2020, but right now, or for 2021, but right now it's kind of just a crapshoot.
Yep, yep. Okay, so we're showing, if this budget were to become, our reality by this time next year, we'd be about $4,200, $4,300 short. As we know, the budgets we pass are never really our reality. And like Christy said, this coming year is a real crapshoot as to what happens and what doesn't happen. So I think it's a conservative budget. And I think showing only a $4,300 loss for the coming year is prudent, as the first Bush president would say, prudent. So, Vicki, you've got some cuts in your budget here. No, actually you don't.
Yeah, big ones. Well,
The collection is lower than we would usually
Yeah,
budget for.
Yeah.
But again, we're trying to fit in expenses that don't put us in too far in the red right out of the gate for next year. Obviously, if revenue comes in significantly better than we're projecting, we can always revisit upping that collection line during the year.
yep. Okay,
Make some
terrific.
adjustments. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Christy, either on the revenue or the expense side?
Well, just,
Thank you for putting in a marketing line. Appreciate that.
and just a question, that, in terms of the collection, Vicky, you would know this. Are the costs for ebooks and the other kinds of things that are likely to be used more, streaming devices and the rest, less expensive than buying books for the collection or not? I mean, are there ways of purchasing that make sense for the time?
Yeah.
That are less
Yeah.
expensive?
Just to address that. So we changed a lot of, or targeted a lot of the money to ebooks and audio books over the course of this last 9 months. And ebooks are much more expensive. They just really screw you. It's unbelievable. $50. And then it'll run out. You'll lose the ownership of it maybe in 3 years.
Wow.
Or after 5 times. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, they've got a racket going.
I'll say,
Mm.
wow.
I would have thought that they would be less since they don't have the printing costs. Wow.
And making up for the lack of sales of the printed stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think so too.
Okay, I was-
No, they're not. Another way to think about it is 20 people are going to read that book. So they didn't have the sales of 20 individual books.
Right,
So in a
right.
sense, it's kind of a wash, I think. I don't know if I would say it's kind of a ripoff. If you think about
Well-
how many people are actually going to use that book.
But sometimes it's also, Randy, on the number of times it goes out, and you can only, you buy it for, it can go out 10 times. So it isn't even an unlimited amount. They have it, capped, and they're all different. But Vicky did, I directed her to, stop our physical ordering here, but we put a lot of money into the system. I think that the whole system overall increased by 1/3 of what we had, the Mid-Hudson Library System, what we have access to, by 1/3. So lots of that's what all the libraries were doing. We
Mm.
had to. No sense to have books here that people couldn't come in to use, and and they were asking for those things.
Yep.
But it's
This
mhm.
This will be a very interesting exercise when COVID has passed for us to compare, hardcover books versus electronic books, and what does the data tell us on how many times they get used. The
Yeah.
thing about the print books is they also get used by the rest of the system. So, and that'll be part of our data as we consider all of that.
Audiobooks do also, Rick.
Oh, they do?
Audiobooks also, oh yeah.
Mm. Right.
We have
Okay.
first refusal, just like a physical book, if the person's here, but anybody in the system after that can use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it'll be a very interesting data study to take a look at and figure out how to balance it going forward,
Yeah.
post-COVID.
Yeah.
Because I do think, electronics are obviously here to stay and going to become more popular over time as the younger set gets more to a book reading age, as it were.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. Any other points, questions, concerns, comments?
Well, one other thing, Christy, I noticed you don't have anything for the DEC programs, but I'm assuming they usually come out without any, in and out the same amount. So
They're in there. So
Oh,
the
they
Florida
are. Okay.
Arts grant, I retitled it from DEC to the Columbia Green Arts Grant, which
Oh,
is another
okay.
thing that I was asked to do about 700 times before I actually finally did it just now.
Oh, okay.
It's in there for
Oh,
both
yeah,
the
yeah,
revenue and
I see.
the expense. So I
Okay.
have it based on what you had sent me, I want to say back in September or October, I think.
I had a curiosity. Anybody have a report from Dale on what we made on the wreath sale?
That's
No, but
this
I know
year's
they-
budget, Patty. That's
Pardon?
this year's budget. That will show up in this year's budget, not next year's.
Okay, I'd still like to know what we made.
Well,
I don't know what
okay.
they made, but I know he sold out.
Okay,
I think they're gonna net like $1,400.
okay.
I'm not positive, but I think that's what he told me.
Okay.
Or, so, okay. There were seven that weren't spoken for that they ordered as overage, and I'm assuming they sold, and that put them up to the 1,400.
Mhm.
Okay,
I have one thing. So Christy, the Mid Hudson fees have gone down.
So the Mid-Hudson fees that are in there are reflective of our portion less what CCLA pays on our behalf.
Okay,
So from last year's budget, I did not take out the portion that CCLA pays on our behalf in the 2020 budget. Not really going down, it's just
yeah.
counting.
okay.
We expect to spend less in publicity. Wait, we expect to spend more in publicity. Okay, yeah.
So
Yes,
that
we do.
publicity and marketing includes continued service with Panoramic for next year.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Great.
I think if I wait long enough, questions will keep coming. So we'll give it I'll give it another long pause here. And no, not yet. Okay. All right. Hearing no other questions or concerns, the budget is before us from the Finance Committee. So can we have a second and we will vote on it?
I'll second it.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Ken. All those in favor of adopting this budget as our 2021 budget for the coming year, or it is 2021 is the coming year. I'll
Yeah.
rephrase. Let's all just approve the budget. How's that?
Yes. Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Raise your-
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Dottie, you raised your hand at the wrong moment.
You're so observant.
Okay, all right. Hearing no nays and no abstentions, we have adopted the budget. Okay, so I'm going to take the next 10 minutes and just do a couple of quick updates and ask people for any other quick items that they have. So from my perspective, on nominating and governance, I've asked Judy Albert to help me rewrite our bylaws, or review and rewrite some of our bylaws. And one of the things I would very much like to do is to move the annual meeting from February to this meeting, the second Thursday of December, which can then serve not only as our annual meeting where we adopt the budget and, display our annual report and all that, but it can then morph into a holiday party afterwards if we really get good at inviting the public to our annual meeting. I think those two things would go hand in hand very nicely. So what do people think of that concept?
I like it.
It's okay with me.
All right, good.
If you have cookies, people will actually show up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cookies and hot chocolate, that's what I figured. Yeah, right. And then the cool kids will hang around for the after party. All right. So, and I'm also asked her to help with the policies. We need a code of ethics, which we don't currently have, for example. Okay. Next item is I've asked Mark to reach out to Mary Clark to see if she'll work with him on putting together a detailed facility plan for us. So hopefully Mary will say yes to Mark, and we can start thinking about having that sometime in the first couple of months of the new year. How does that sound, Mark?
Good.
All right, terrific.
Rick, what did
Yeah.
you asked her to develop okay, Mark is gonna ask Mary Clark to develop a
To work
facility.
with him.
A facility plan.
What is a facility plan?
What's
A
the-
schedule of what's going to need to be done.
and- Yeah,
Like a capital improvement?
yeah.
No, like when
No,
is the
not really.
roof probably going to need repair? When are rugs probably going to need
Okay.
replacement? When is the furnace probably going to gasp its last breath, so that you don't get surprised by these things?
And, and maybe even get a little adventurous and, do a comparison of our current furnace versus a geothermal heating system with part of the renovation. So, that's all those things can be on the table as you consider our physical plant, as it were. All right, how does that sound?
Good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Terrific. So nominating and governance, I have also reached out by text asking Kathleen Turley. No, what is her last name? It is Turley.
Yeah, Turley, yeah.
Julie, help
You're
me
right.
out here. Yeah.
You're
okay.
right.
Kathleen Turley, David
Yeah.
John and Kathleen Turley.
Could you
Yep.
spell her last name, Julie?
Turley.
Oh, it's got a knee.
Turley?
T
Yep.
is in Tom, Urley, yeah.
Great, thanks.
Just like curly with a T.
And then
So, and I've
you-
asked to meet with her this weekend. She hasn't gotten back to me yet, but hopefully I'll meet with her in the next couple of weeks. I'd like to see if she'll join the board and if she would do so at the annual meeting. David told me that she's retiring and that it's time to go get her for the library board, so I believe him.
Yep, and also, I don't know when in February, but in February, they will be moving up here permanently.
Oh, so that may line up nicely. That may line up very nicely. Terrific. I also reached out to the woman who I keep talking about from Malden Bridge, Kim Seabury, by text, asking her if we can get together this weekend.
Nice.
I did reach out to Steve Eidman, see if he would talk to me about it. He texted back that he can't consider it until he stops being the co-op president, because that's an overwhelming position for him. So, and he said, unfortunately, that's for a little bit. Sounds like he just got reelected. So I just wrote back, that's okay, we'll be patient.
Hey, Rick,
So, yes,
could you spell out Kim's last name?
Seabury, Seabury.
Sebaur.
No.
Be like the ocean.
Yep,
Sebury. Seabury.
thank you.
And then I haven't done it yet, but we have 3 open seats. So if we get Kathleen and we get Kim, I was thinking that we could ask Mike Lardazabal or Judy Albert as she works with me on the bylaws and the policies, and see what she thinks about, her Thursday nights once a month up here in North Chatham. She's a former board member. I think everybody knows her. And then if Carol actually follows through on stepping down halfway through this coming year, we'll have another open seat and part of a term to consider, part of whatever the remainder of Carol's term is, to consider for another candidate. And, there's some possibilities around ELIC that time will tell if that can work out well. Okay. That's what I've got. Anybody have any other updates for us?
Just a question, Rick. What's happening with the appeal letter? Where-
It's at the printer. Oh, right. Thank you, Julie. It's at the printer. Kim and Eileen, between the two of them, made me look like I knew exactly what the freak I was doing when I showed up at Curtis Printing. The guy looked at it and he was like, wow, somebody really knows what they're doing. I was like, because Kim gave me a spec sheet, and then Eileen gave me a sheet that had color tones and stuff like that on it. So between the two of them, the guy thought we really had our act together. So, which is terrific. So it's at the printer. He's supposed to have emailed me the cost by now. He hasn't. I'm a little unhappy about that, since I saw him much earlier in the week and I told him I would like to report that number on Thursday night. However, Kim and I both somehow in our minds came down on between $2,000 and $3,000 for the expense of doing this. So, but we'll be sending out 20,040 pieces roughly.
No, 2,000.
2,000, yeah. Thanks to dear God. What a deal that would have been.
Oh my God.
$2,000, 20, yeah.
I would quit the board and hide until I knew they were all out, and then I'd come back.
2,000. And 800 of those will be just addressed. Postal patron, North Chatham, postal patron, Malden Bridge, postal patron, Old Chatham. So, and hopefully that, obviously, and we're supposed to have that early next week.
Oh,
If
good.
not by the end of this week. So, and once I have them and I can look at the list again and I see them and have them in my hands, I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to tell me who they want to write a personal note to. I'm going to try to write as many personal notes as I can. I've set aside 2 whole days to write personal notes on the remaining 1,200 or so. So, and if there are people there that I, think it would be good for somebody else to add a note to it, I'll reach out, let you know, and make sure that you have a chance to put a handwritten note on those. Okay, folks? And then we'll get them in the mail so that people get them before Christmas. Thanks for reminding me of that, Julie. Okay. Other things, items, updates. Mark, I'll just mention that Mark and I put oil-filled radiators in the little library, and they seem to do a very nice job of keeping that library at good temperature. Now, we had a bunch of nights in the 20s. We haven't had anything in the teens, the 10s, or the zeros yet. But this is allowing us to keep that computer available during library hours and not have to worry about having people, coming in to use the computer for in the main building at the same time that somebody else has signed up to browse. At the same time, we've got 2 staff people in there or something like that. It's a good way to minimize the overlap in the building. So hopefully that can last the winter.
Sounds good.
Okay. Anybody have any other quick updates for us? I wish Dale was here to confirm my number, but I'm pretty darn sure that's what he told me.
Yeah, I think that's pretty close, Rick.
Okay.
The money is still sitting, well, some of the money is still sitting in PayPal because we're waiting on the invoice from Sherwood, I guess the vendor.
Event. Yeah.
And PayPal is holding our money hostage until we can prove we're not selling drugs. So.
That'd be quite the fundraiser.
Yep.
What I think is so neat is to drive through North Chatham and see all these houses with the wreaths on them, it's really fun.
I put
Yeah.
mine up today.
Yep.
I forgot to collect mine. Is it still there or did they sell it?
That's a Dale. That's a Joe question. You may have an email from Joe, or maybe we can share his email with you to check in with him. But I'm kind of assuming they would have held on to it for you, or actually Ann Marshall. You know what, Liz? I know
Yeah,
you
look-
have,
See if I got anything from Ann, but I'll look again.
well, I
I
would.
think Joe
email
sent
her.
out the email, but
Who's
you
Joe?
probably still,
I'm
Joe
sorry.
Williamson is Dale Saylor's partner.
Oh, okay. What's the last name?
Williamson?
Williamson? Okay.
And if not, just send an email direct to Ann asking her.
Okay. It doesn't really
Explain-
matter. I just
explain the-
wondered.
Explain. Yeah. We might have made an extra $42 off of you, Liz. Sorry.
That would be absolutely fine. I have lots of wreaths. I only bought it to support the library, so
Okay.
hopefully somebody bought it.
Or you get it. Yep. Okay. This is your opportunity, folks. Anything else that you want to bring up before we meet again in January?
Well, I'll say that I'd be sending you some information on a program coming up in January that I will be doing.
Oh, good. Oh, I saw the lead on that already. That looks awesome, Julie. That looks really awesome.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Yep. Yeah, folks, when you see this one, you're really going to want to set aside the time to partake with Julie and her co-presenter. It's gonna
And
be-
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rick.
that's
I
okay.
just want to say thank you, Kim, for a fabulous poster.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, that reminds me, Vicky, myself, and Dottie are meeting with Panoramic Studios on Friday to talk about upgrades and changes we need to make to the website so that it's more friendly to our programs. Vicky, did you raise your hand?
I was going to ask Julie to talk about the program, the holiday program that she just had.
Oh, well, I thought maybe I'd bring it up the next meeting when we really have a board meeting, but it was really fun. It was great fun.
Good.
The program, and we ended up, okay, so on Wednesday before the Sunday, Wednesday last week, we had one person signed up, and that's when I sent everybody the big help. Anyway, by Sunday, we had 37 people. So
Great.
thank you, everybody, for your good work, spreading the word and attending.
And we probably had more than that, right? Because we had 4 people just on our one Zoom at our house, right? So
You had
37 was more than 37.
Well, I counted you as,
Oh, you counted me as 4?
So Christy, did your kids enjoy it?
They did. They were singing along, and then we got muted because I didn't know we were not muted.
Sorry about that.
They were singing along. That's great. It was fun to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very fun to see children, when we first met. Oh, it was like, oh my God, there are kids in the world.
Uh-oh.
So,
Okay. We blew right past, I was late, so we're still within the half an hour range of what I set aside for this meeting. So going, anything else? Anything else? Gone. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. It's been a bizarre year, but I think we really did a good job of pulling through it and holding our own with and really having to change things on the fly as we went. So nice work, everybody. Everybody, from the staff up through the committees and the board, we had a good year nonetheless. And it was just a weird year.
Yeah.
So good job. Good job. I really think, we did a nice job. Okay. The meeting is adjourned. The executive committee is going to stay on board for a couple more minutes.